Well, we are under a system of white supremacy. That's the most powerful government that the world has ever seen, and that's the title of it, by the way. It doesn't go by any other title, even though we sometimes call it by other titles, but the accurate title for the government that we are under is, in capital letters, the system of white supremacy worldwide. It's just one world government, and that's the only government in town, the only government on the planet that really counts, that is worthy of having the title of government. People who believe in dominating and mistreating people based on color in the form of what we call racism or white supremacy, those people collectively are the dominant force in all 9 areas of activity on this planet that we call Earth. In every area of activity, 24/7. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And they believe in dominating and mistreating people based on color. They're the smartest and most powerful men and women on the planet. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Now, that's a problem. It's a huge problem because nobody on the planet should be dominated and mistreated based on anything, whether it's color or anything else. But that's what the only system that we have on the planet. We don't have any other system. There are no other systems, none, zilch. So the question is, what would you replace that system with? Logically speaking, since it is a system of non-justice, you replace it with a system of justice, which means what? 2 elements, according to what I have written anyway, and that is guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Now, that's what you go to the table with each and every day, each and every time, wherever you are on the planet. That's the kind of planet you want. Because we can't keep going on, or we shouldn't keep going on like we have been going on.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. We're running out of credible elders.
Say that again.
We are running out of credible elders. There's a difference between an elder and an older. Some people just getting old. What they're talking about is not relevant. It doesn't make sense. And we can't use it to produce anything in this day and time. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just telling the truth. Because we got plenty of young people doing the same exact thing.
Yes, good morning and welcome to Straight Up for Today, the 19th of February. 19th of February. Today is also the date on which thousands and tens of thousands of Ethiopians, the start of the massacre of tens of thousands of Ethiopians. I think it was 1937, was it? 19th of February, was it 1937? Yeah, it must have been 1937. It could have been, yeah, 1937. Anyway, it was the 19th of February, the start of the massacre of tens of thousands of Ethiopian youths, young people searched out by the Italian, the fascist invaders of Ethiopia. Them search out the young people, starting in Addis Ababa and starting with those who are well educated. Search out all of the well educated young people and decide to wipe them out. Wipe them out. Tens of thousands of them were massacred on this day. And it continued. It was just like the Coral Gardens wiping out that the government of Jamaica planned in 1963. Just like the Coral Gardens wiping out that Bustamante initiated in 1963. The wiping out of tens of thousands of Ethiopian educated youth as a punishment. Punishment for the resistance of the Ethiopian people, especially the youth. Resistance against the invasion and occupation of Ethiopia. Martyrs Day, them call it, 19th of February. That music was played by Delroy Wilson. Of course, you know that was the anthem the anthem of the musical campaign of Michael Manley and the PNP in 1969 to 72. 1969 to 72, the PNP and Michael Manley made a special study of the culture, the youth culture and the African militant culture of the time in Jamaica and around the world, and changed their image into a youth image and a African and a black image, black militant image, to distance themselves from the JLP. The PNP and the JLP were regarded by the majority of the population as being no better than one another. The PNP and the JLP. Between 1962 and 68, the people of Jamaica, especially the young people, it became a majority. More than half of the people of Jamaica by 1968 had come to the conclusion that the PNP and the JLP offered no independence, and the 62 independence, so-called independence, was not an independence. It was a garrison formed between the PNP and the JLP to hold Jamaica in their clutches. The majority of the population came to that conclusion by 1968. So Norman Manley announced that he was ready to leave the political scene because the new scene had overtaken him and he had not much relevance. He did not have enough relevance for him to feel satisfied to stay on the scene and to try and lead anything. And he vacated the leadership of the PNP and the leadership of the opposition early in the new year, 69. And his son Michael Manley take over the PNP and the leadership of the opposition, having won a seat in 1967. Him and E.K. Powell had fight for the central Kingston seat, and it was in dispute for some time till it was awarded to Michael Manley, wasn't it? E.K. Powell of the JLP, an engineer. Anyway, as I said, between 1969 and 1972, the PNP and Michael Manley changed up their image to be a youth-friendly and black-friendly group of people. And especially after 1969, early 70, when the Abeng newspaper failed. The Abeng newspaper failed, the publication of the Abeng newspaper, which was expressing a black militant and leftist view. Matter of fact, the paper was controlled by some leftists and some Marxists, and had a kind of anti-black view. Ironically, although they chose the name Abeng, and they rode on the wave of sentiment, black militant sentiment that voiced itself in 1968. The people who control the Abeng were people, most of them were kind of critical of the black militant, black power, African-centered movement, which they said that class struggle is the most important thing, not race struggle. Not the struggle of a race to be redeemed is important, they thought, but the class struggle of poorer people against the rich, they thought that that was the most important thing, and they used to look down. They used to believe they are looking down on the black struggle, the African struggle. And it's people like these that control the black image Abeng paper. Afterwards, the black image of the paper was questioned whether it was genuine, and they made an attempt to incorporate more of the African opinion and more of the black nationalist sentiment on the mass of the people. But as soon as the Abeng failed early in 1970, the PNP and Michael Manley co-opted. In other words, they grabbed at least half of the militant and leftist supporters and controllers of the Abeng newspaper and brought them into the PNP struggle. Some of them was in the PNP before, like D.K. Duncan and Arnold Bertram and many more. Some of them was even financiers from inside the PNP. Vernon Arnett was one of the people who used to support that paper. Very decent human being, a PNP minister, former PNP minister and MP. He was one of the people who used to help finance the paper. But there were some more avaricious elements, not like Vernon Arnett, more avaricious elements who were really supporting and and donating in order to control. And once the paper failed in early 1970, they were co-opted back into the PNP and back into Michael Manley team. And they proceeded to incorporate a lot of black culture admiration and black culture practice and so on, and gradually changed the image of Michael Manley into a semi-black militant and so on and so forth. But the musicians and the popular music of the day, especially after somebody like Boston Jack put out the music named Starvation. Can we find that music, please? Starvation by Boston Jack. Especially after Boston Jack put out that piece of music, and it was banned by the JLP government, I think, in 1969. Michael Manley and the PNP saw very much with music like Everything Crash. Everything Crash, and the effectiveness of all of them kind of music there. They harness the effectiveness of the popular music of the day, and then form a thing named PNP bandwagon. Not immediately in 69. They gradually were changing the image, gradually were studying the culture and how to use the culture. Because you know that one of the main stratagem of the leftists and militant Marxists and other fellow travelers is to move along with popular movements, infiltrate them, take them over, and use the popularity of them to take power and authority in various countries. And when you get in authority now, you push them away and destroy them. You even eliminate them life and annihilate and massacre them if necessary. That's one of the techniques of the so-called far left revolutionaries. Later on, they carried out some of that theory in Grenada. Some of them steered Jamaica and sanctioned the killing and the murder and the overthrowing of Maurice Bishop and many others. Same set of people. Same set of people were incorporated into the PNP. And it was with some relief that Michael Manley and many of his team lost the 1980 election, with some relief, because the going was really rough and tough. A whole heap of gunfighting and hundreds of people dying. And some of them realized that if the PNP had won in 1980, they were scheduled for, some of them were scheduled for execution, like what happened to Bishop in Grenada. They knew that if Michael Manley and the PNP did continue in power, the far leftist, some of them, the more irrational ones and the more craven ones, the more craven ones of the crew, would seek to seize power, having infiltrated like a chichi. And even wrested control of the PNP. They would put Michael Manley and other moderates one side and probably even put them to death. They knew that. Michael Manley and many more of his people knew that. So here we are. Better must come. Will better come through any of these two parties?
Alright, gonna be going to the phone lines. We, as a wider family, because you know we operate in the media, but we're also a wider family in terms of the media on the one hand, but secondly, in terms of even our interactions, our shared concerns, our beliefs, our interests, and you know, people gravitate towards each other when you have common interests, common ideologies, and as I said before, even more when they are shared. And one such person in the media, you know, we talk about each other all the time. Muta and myself always talking about each other. They will have Jerry Small over at News Talk, Vereen Shepherd, Elise Kelly. You really do have some persons within the media who do have shared interests and shared concerns. And it's not because others don't have those interests, but I'm talking about the shared ones. Shared, not just that you share them, you have them, but that you actually interact within the spaces in which these are being shared. Jerry Small, of course, is one of those persons, and more than that, also a friend and a colleague in the business. So when We heard that he was off his program in News Talk 93 for a time. I was concerned, made a call to him a few weeks back, and now that we notice that he's still not on the program, and there are questions being raised not just among us within the media, but also in the wider Jamaican society. His program is a well listened to program, straight up on News Talk 93, carrying and embodying the concerns of the masses of the Jamaican people, and particularly the African Jamaicans. Now, I want to go to the phone line to speak with Jerry Small so that we can shed some light, he can shed some light on the ongoing situation there with his program and with himself. Jerry, good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Good morning, and we thank you very much for having me here.
Yes, thanks for coming into space. Jerry, you know that there's a lot of concerns. I mean, here we are at IRFM, and we also get lots of questions about when you are returning to News Talk, because people do think that because we're in the media together, we know everything. And so that there is this interest in your being off your program straight up for such a long time. Do you care to share with us what's the background to this, and what is the latest situation?
Yes, well, first I want to thank the University of West Indies, Mona especially, the whole Caribbean University of West Indies, but especially on the Mona campus, for what they have done for me over the years to help me grow, and I know that they will not do anything to prevent me continue growing. Now, I want to name three things in giving gratitude. Gratitude must replace pride. You know, pride and ego. If you replace it with gratitude, you'll always be great. You'll always be happy.
Yes.
Some people think that pride and ego can make you happy. No, gratitude will make you always happy in a good sense. Mm-hmm. And I have to give gratitude for main three things. Many things over the years, but firstly, the folk philosophy fellowship that the University of West Indies extended to me in 2000 to follow Mortimer plan was in the initial one. Next, the publication, the undertaking to publish a manuscript which they had asked me to do from 1990. This was accomplished 20 years later in 2010. And as a result, greatly facilitated by Professor Williams, initiated by Professor Carlin Cooper, but manifested by Professor Williams in 2010. And as a result of that, Professor Williams invited me to do the Walter Rodney lecture to October 2010. And I think she invited the manager of the radio station to attend that lecture. And because of that lecture, the manager of the radio station, Mrs. Cheeseman, invited me to come and do a program on News Talk 93 FM. I was glad to do so. And I was glad to help build up that station, because I know it was very valuable. So I was glad to join them, and I was there for more than 5 years and 3 months building the program and building the station. It was my pleasure to do so, to return something to university. Now, you know that public affairs program, is very stressful, and you have to manage your stress and your rest.
Yes.
I'd taken 2 weeks last year, but by August, but more than 6 months elapsed. And there's the most hectic 6 months in Jamaica, because just before August, the government of the day indicated that there would be an election coming up. And although it was not announced till late January, early February, I believe, that election mode was on in Jamaica, and public affairs took on a very hectic and very interesting nature. Now, I needed another rest, and I was very conscious of it from late January, but I keep ignoring it, like many people who are almost workaholics try to ignore that they need a rest. This is not a luxury. In the last few weeks, 3 to 5 weeks, I even noticed myself that I was too impatient. And I know that I need a rest, but you're always putting it off till tomorrow. Now, this resulted in me in my private conversation inside the studio when a break was indicated to be taken, uttering some comments which was being broadcast against, not with me not knowing that these comments were being broadcast. Matter of fact, the last thing was when I was on the way out of the studio when it was being projected that a commercial break was being taken. Now, many people called me and said that they want to make a protest about me being taken off the air.
Mm-hmm.
You were very concerned. You called me the next day, the Saturday, and the other day was a program like this. I think it was the 6th of March.
Mm-hmm.
I asked people not to demonstrate because that's not the way I want to deal with the university.
Yeah.
And I told you I was not ready to talk publicly because I didn't see it as a conflict between me and the university.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody individually had taken some action. I don't think this is the policy of the university. It's certainly not the policy of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Beckles, who is the world authority on reparations and reconstructive justice. And to my mind, knowing Professor Archie McDonald, not his concept, nor the board of the station. But in the meantime, I decided to hold my silence so that inquiry could be made if I had, and the circumstances of me having violated any of the Broadcasting Commission requirements. I have heard nothing of inquiring from me myself. If it's a month, it is now a month, and actually a month and 2 days.
Yeah.
But I still am eternally grateful to the university. I'm very glad that I could stay there for 5 years and 3 months and help to build the program.
Right. Jerry,
But
I don't know how much you want to say, but what you do not wish to answer, you do not have to. So let us say that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You mentioned just now that the conversation that so many persons heard on air, that conversation to you did not know that was being broadcast. That was a private conversation.
No. And a matter of fact, my not knowing was reinforced by the theme song being played audibly while I was conversing with the other person in the studio. And usually the theme song being played means that the theme song is coming over and the advertisements or whatever, public announcement will be made. And we go on conversing in the studio. So I was thrown off by the theme song being played to put me at ease.
Yes.
Later on, it was not until the night I realized. It was in the night when people phoned me. Many people phoned me from the morning, the afternoon, the evening. But it was only in the night I realized that somebody told me that a part of an expletive, really African language, had also come over the air at the end of my private exchange with the other person in the studio. I was not aware of that until 10 o'clock the night. Which means
you're saying to us that you weren't aware that the microphone was live.
No, because the theme song was being played and then advertisements were in trend to start coming over.
But I also hear you saying, Jerry, that you kind of stood back because it is true. I did call to say, just let me know. But then here you are saying that you kind of stood back for that investigative process to take place, which normally happens, whether it's through the Broadcasting Commission and so on. But are you saying to us that has not happened to the best of your knowledge?
No, I received one communication 2 days later, immediately at the end of your Sunday program on Sunday the 6th of March. I received a communication delivered to my home dated 2 days earlier that I had been, that my program has been suspended pending investigation because of possible violation of the university and the station's license subject to Broadcast Commission regulations. So I expected some investigation to include me, and I waited patiently for a month, knowing that, these things take time. I've waited for a month. But as you said, I asked you not to press me to speak on the air when you called me 2 days later. I asked several people not to mount any demonstration because that is not my style. Even though I went through the walls or anything in 68 and you saw us demonstrating out there. That was against the government action, not against the university. The university did not do Walter Rodney anything, and the university has not done me anything.
Yeah. And so what we are hearing today is that and many of us are concerned. Let me just preface it with that. What we're hearing today is that note you got from the correspondence from the station that your program has been suspended pending investigation, that there has been no follow-up note.
Not the program. The program has been continuing.
That right.
And my name has been used to promote it, and the whole format, everything has continued. My service has been suspended.
Pending investigation. And so that investigation is still ongoing then?
No, I don't know if it has been started. It must have been started for someone to tell me not to continue. But it starts with with hearing what I did. I suppose it would continue by hearing what I say about what happened.
You have not been called to any. So Jerry, the last letter that you got, which was the first letter, the only letter that you got, is this one correspondence. No more correspondence from the station.
No, ma'am. And as I said, the university has not. The university has done me nothing.
Yes.
And the nature of the university, I expect that the university would follow the highest ideals, because starting from way before 1960, the university has been exemplary in investigating the nature of the Rastafari movement and coming to its defense and making certain suggestions where the government of the day did carry out.
Yes.
And many other things like that. The Coral Gardens, we'll soon come to Coral Gardens, but the university has always stood, usually university has always stood with the people of the Caribbean. And as Professor Beckles has pointed out, that his university in England, University of Hull, when he and other students found out that they had great investments in South Africa, he demanded from the university to take investments out of apartheid South Africa. And they did respond to these undergraduates and these graduates of Hull University, took out their investment in South Africa and kept their name clean. And I know this university itself has set examples, even in that anti-apartheid fight from the time in the 50s when Norman Manley took action, from the time in the 60s when Anthony Abrams and others led demonstration and bust them onto the government, confronted them and didn't like how they were standing up for South Africa. And many other examples, I think that the university even stood behind Walter Rodney when he was banned by the government.
I speak as a host of this program, but I also speak wearing another hat as a program director at the station, and I am at pains to understand that process.
The process of what?
Of that, the first letter being sent to you, and the only letter being sent to you, and then no follow-up correspondence for over 4 weeks. It's unusual.
But
it's unusual.
As in government, frequently things happen that the university and the government don't even know about. Individuals inside might know about it, but frequently the institution does not know about it. Frequently. And frequently government institutions, churches, organizations, movement like Rastafari, movement like the God.Ka'bu movement, are found guilty in public opinion or in private opinion when the institution itself is not aware of the circumstances of the offense, either offending the public or offending a member. But usually it is a minority of people who sometimes inside of an institution carry out these things to the knowledge. If the PNP did a day, many things that individuals in there did that went against them and make them lose election. The PNP wasn't aware of many individual actions.
Found guilty, you said. Do you think that you have been tried and found guilty in absentia?
No, I don't think the university has tried me. I think that individuals might have, like a policeman will enter your house without a warrant, or a policeman will lock you up and keep you for more than 3 days without notifying even your relatives. I think that the university is not aware of actions, of implications of actions that individuals working for it do. Not yet aware. I don't think they're yet aware. And that's why I start by apologizing to the public for any impatience that I showed and any impropriety that I showed in those 3 to 5 weeks that I know that I was under pressure and should have taken a break. And frequently I've had to apologize for things to my listeners and to the general public. And I think that we continue growing when we are willing to do these things. And I'm not willing to stop growing. And I don't think the university would do anything to stop me from growing. And you know that look for the Coral Gardens thing. I have to give credit first to Baba Roots of the Baba Roots industry. It's Webb, otherwise known as Rush, who made a donation to the Coral Gardens Benevolent Association that facilitated me traveling down there and giving an address when they invited me down there to Jarrett Park a couple of Thursdays ago. I will give credit to Baba Roots because he made that donation, because the Coral Gardens people don't have no money. and the committee that is doing such benevolent society, them down the money. And instead of the government of Jamaica, especially this regime, JLP regime, instead of them extending Jarrett Park and many other things, Sam Shaw Square and the whole of the facilities that them have, including Outer Many one, to the Rastafari movement, don't lend them Outer Many, give it to them with title, and give them Jarrett Park when they need it. Instead of that, the Carl Gardens Committee have to be forking out money to pay for things that the St. James Parish Council should be giving back to the people of Carl Gardens of Jamaica, the facility down there without charge. It was a little small part of reparation. A few years ago, 2013, when you yourself and others of us organized, along with people like IAV and many others, organized one of the best, biggest demonstrations on Carl Gardens Memorial, $150,000 was taken out of the little fundraising that was done to give police, because police came and extorted, saying that why is private security being hired for the Carl Gardens event at Jarrett Park? Them want $150,000. And instead of the state repairing the breach and giving the place free, police took $150,000 before they out of the Carl Gardens thing, right in the wall of the present right now at Jarrett Park.
That is true. Jerry, let me just get back to this quickly. I'm trying to get to my own broadcast assistant, who I'm talking to loudly on the mic now because I haven't seen her in the last 10 minutes, to say that you have not been dismissed.
Who said that?
No, I'm just saying, this is a question I'm asking you. You haven't been dismissed.
No. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I have got no notice of any dismissal. I got one notice of suspension of my services pending investigation whether my actions had compromised the terms of the license, the broadcasting license of the University of the West Indies Radio Station News Talk 93, subject to the Broadcasting Commission regulation.
Please correct.
Notice, that is all notice that you are suspended until further notice.
Yes.
So I expect further notice. If somebody says that action must be taken against you till further notice, you are looking for further notice.
Yes. What are your?
And I don't think the university is aware of this timetable.
What are your expectations?
Well, I expect that I've communicated with the university twice. I haven't got any response, but frequently even the Prime Minister, even Portia since me had to tell some of you people the other day that no invitation came to her for any interview over the last 4 years.
That's not true. Jerry, I deliberately didn't mention that this morning. I have all the letters that I've written to the Prime Minister and the responses that I've received from the Prime Minister's office. One, her visit to Africa. Two, the Africa Union and Jamaica's representative on the Africa Union. So I have right here in front of me 4 correspondents in Maine, but all the responses, one, I was told to send the questions through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I can give you the names. Margaret Lim told me to submit those questions to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I submitted the questions. They were routed to the office of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister agreed, well, in principle, because I didn't talk to her directly, but I'm hearing somebody agreed to an interview on Sunday morning. On the Saturday night, the interview was cancelled. And that left me without a program the following Sunday morning. So the Prime Minister is lying. The former Prime Minister is lying.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean not necessarily? I don't know.
No, hold on. She might not be aware because the people around her shielding her and protect the former Prime Minister. People around her shielding her and not even making her know what is coming in and sending out things in her name. Furthermore, she was told not to debate. It's not she decided not to debate, according to what she's saying. So I imagine that the head of the university, the management of the university, even the board of the radio station probably is in the same position as Portia Simpson Miller. And I empathize with her. She was under the same stress that I was under for January, February. Needed a break and didn't take the break and was losing the election. And even when she lose the election, she still need a break and she's still there now. Don't want to take a break because she feel like she have to hold on. She need a break.
Jerry,
I have got a month break. I think I answer before.
Yes, no, but let me just go here.
Yes, ma'am.
I will come right forward.
Yes.
The SDC had an event here at IRFM.
Yes.
At which the Prime Minister was a guest
Social
speaker.
Development Commission.
Yes, at which the Prime Minister was a guest speaker. A request that I made early when we heard, that was last year, A request I made early when we heard she was coming is whether or not she would sit down to an interview. That request was denied. That was not in writing, but that request
not by
was
her,
denied.
by her handlers.
Well, but I understand that you say that you're talking about the pressures and the stress and so on, and I can empathize with that as a journalist myself and as a host of a program. So sometimes we come to the spaces and we have to be, but what's happening around us, sometimes you can't even talk about that. So we really do need to take the time.
By the way, you are a program director.
Yes.
And you know that in the event of any private conversation coming over the radio, there are technical mechanisms to forestall that.
Yes.
In other words, in plain language, if I've used language that is not appropriate, whether deliberately or not deliberately, there's technical, if I say a so-called bad word now, one of the African words, either the B word or the R word.
But don't say it, because even though I have the dump button.
I won't do it.
Yes.
But you know that one of the vital things that a radio station is demanded in by the Broadcast Commission. Yeah. You must record all programs 24 hours a day. You must have recordings of them. Yes. And you must also have a mechanism that delays the sound going out for a while.
So that you can dump it.
That you may pull back and dump things.
Yes. Okay. So that is a Broadcasting Commission stipulation. It is license contingent. It has to be carried out by the station.
Yeah, record all material so that we can hear back what happens, and also have a mechanism to dump things that they may not go over.
Yeah, but many times.
Ka'bu, I need at least 3 minutes to make one closing statement.
Yes.
So reserve that to me.
Many times, and we have been called to the Broadcasting Commission on numerous occasions. There are situations where the dump button is not activated, and so that so-called bad word goes out. Now, when that happens, you really are called in by the Broadcasting Commission, and you're asked to defend or to present arguments as to what happened. Right. And usually there, you can. It is hardly ever a case for 4 weeks suspension.
Yes. Without inquiring of you.
Without inquiring,
Yeah. So I suspect that the managers of the university and the managers of the station has been without a manager for more than a year, but the managers of the station, effectively the board, I suspect that they have not been made up to date of all of the circumstances, and therefore they are not they don't have the benefit of a real investigation.
All right. At the time that when I spoke to you much earlier, Jerry, and you mentioned it too, you weren't ready to speak on air. Now you have come forward. Why?
Yes. Why?
Yes.
A month has passed, and we must continue growing. If we don't continue growing, or stop growing, and stopping from growing is ceasing life, is departing from life. So this work is the only work in town. From 500 and odd years ago, the Africans in Jamaica, their main job is to get off the yoke. And I have said, not because I'm in front of you now, behind your back or in front of you, I said that the work that you have done from your little girl 20 odd years old, 21, 22 years old, what you have done consistently and still doing, and no one may vote you out of power. I think it's a greater contribution. I think maybe only Nanny can exceed you. No prime minister, no former prime minister's work can compare with what you have done. And it's the only job in town that the whole way have to do. People like Musa do it, people like Miguel Lorne, people like Professor Veron Shepherd of the said great university, and many others do it. It's the only job in town. Money making is not the main job. Money making is a byproduct of doing good work. And therefore, after a month, I ask people not to demonstrate on my behalf, because that is not the way that you help the African people. You don't understand me? And it's not a personal fight about not Jerry Small.
Yeah.
And after a month, I think it is appropriate that I share with the people who I have been telling, say, hold on, little minute, or nothing. I think it is improper for you to have somebody holding for half or on the line for a talk show. It's also improper to have people holding for more than a month. And let me just say this now. The UWI experience has helped me to grow and continue growing. And I want to thank some people from way back. Gloria High, I'm going to start with the latest first and finish with the latest. Gloria High is a great friend of mine and a friend of the university from in the 60s. Marina Maxwell, the first wife of John Maxwell. Then professors, starting with Netherlands, not to call them as professors. academics up the starting with Nettleford. And not even going to name the other, Oji and Doda, all of them do the great work. But Nettleford, personally, Nettleford, Mervyn Morris, the first person who convinced me to recite my poetry in public, which I did in 1970 of them. Even give me a check, Mervyn Morris. Other Mervyn Alain from Trinidad, who not only helped me and helped me get a scholarship to the art school by patronizing my self-taught art, but he employed my wife, Sandra Small, for years. Professor MacDonald, from him a young undergraduate. Other people, Professor Carolyn Cooper, after Professor Shivans extended the Folk Philosophy Fellowship to me, Professor Carolyn Cooper asked me to help strengthen the Reggae Studies unit, and I gave about 4 lectures in our behalf after she put God.Ka'bu, my brother-in-law, as the main resource person for the Reggae Studies unit. Professor Williams, who actually initiated the publishing arrangement for my book with the university. Professor Sonia Naya, who is the latest person in charge of the Institute of Caribbean Studies, and many more. God.Ka'bu, not the least, the first Rastafari at the university, and the person who last year, apart from being my brother-in-law, who filled in with me at the program, a university person there was one. And the 2nd of April was yesterday. The 2nd of April is the day that Rastafari graduated into publicly being Haile Selassie. 2nd of April 1930, not the 2nd of November. It's November. It's the day that he took full charge of Ethiopia as King of Kings, but he postponed his coronation 7 months. So yesterday was the anniversary, 1916, the 100-year anniversary of Rastafari, becoming Rastafari, and 14 years later become Haile Selassie. I want to thank also, yes, so that is it that I want to do. And what I'm saying is that the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society should, and the entire Rastafari movement should be accorded the use of Jarrett Park and many other things, including hand over the title to Out of Many and properties all over this island, so that the Rastafari can resume the great work that they're doing for the rest of the population, the African population, and it's an international population, all races. And so that's why I want to record my gratitude to the university, many things over the years.
Yes.
And after 1 month, I need to resume my work, not only to continue going, but also to keep away rust. We do not entertain rust oxidization. And I've been invited, I've been glad over the years to help Roots FM to grow. I started a program there named Man Talk. And when I finished it, it was the idea and the name was taken to TV by Semaj, Carlin Cooper, Kraskill and Bell, and lastly Miss Christine Hewitt to TV. We started, the KLS invited me to do me a short program inside Michael Cook's program, Conversations with Jerry Small. It was done along with Faye Ellington, and I helped them to grow. They helped me to grow. KLS, Roots, then it was Hot 102. RJR occasionally invite me, but Hot 102 mostly, do multiple Perkins program several times. Till eventually they asked me to take over from Babatunde on the 16th of September, 1 month before the 16th of October election 2002. I did my best there. I tried to help them to grow, and they helped me to grow. And then in 2010, the University of West Indies News Talk, after the Breakfast Club and those things had kind of fallen down, Raga Shanti had left there under the controversy of the Broadcasting Commission thing. And I was so glad to help them. First thing I did, even before I knew of it, I went to congratulate Faye Ellington when I heard that she was appointed new manager. Just a few days after I was appointed. When I go in her house, she said, boy, I have to take back a congratulations, you know. I just signed in my resignation. I said, why? She said because she has been, her name has been abused by somebody doing a program there. She can't take the abuse on the internet about her name and her sexuality.
Jerry, I'm sorry to rush on it, but we're totally out of time. Yes.
So Hot 102 has invited me to do a guest thing. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Jerry, hearing you.
Hot 102 has invited for me to do a little guest stint on their stage. And Hot 102, where I was in 2002, 2003. And so for the near future, I will be lending my talent and my work to continue the struggle that you are leading and many others in the media, the African-minded, the African-conscious media people are doing, because nothing outside of that can free the people of Jamaica. The TNT and the JLP will not free the people of Jamaica. The African people themselves, with the cooperation of people like yourself, can only free themselves. Without confidence, you are twice defeated in the race of life.
And the space,
you are defeated before the race starts, and you are defeated again before the race finishes.
And the space in which you operate through the airwave is critical to that struggle.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much.
So 9 o'clock tomorrow morning on weekday mornings for the near future, I will continue to try make my contribution and to entertain the contribution of callers and listeners and texters, because we are only facilitating the work of the wider public. It's not we alone working. And we are no Christ, we are no saviors, all of us together as a family, the African family. And I thank you so much for having me here. And just like what on university, I thank you as another university and many others. I thank you so much for Hot 102. You even facilitate a station supposed to be rival. You even have a promo say, boy, you could have hot. You could have hit it, but if you're not iron already, we still give credit to Irie and the leadership and yourself. Can you imagine a little slip of a girl? A little slip of a girl.
Jerry, we out of time. Leave me alone.
Yes, nobody wants to leave you alone.
Love you too, my brother Jerry. Thank you so much.
Man. Hot 102, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Jah willing. And the life is God and God is life. The same life went inside the Island of Lassa. The same life went inside of Jesus Christ. I am inside of you. I am inside of you. I am inside of the Savior.
Stay where you are, Jerry. Stand firm. Give thanks, my brother. I appreciate that.
I want to thank my wife. Yesterday was our anniversary. After 15 years
Happy anniversary.
Together. Yes, and after 15 years together, in 2nd of April 1980, we changed her name from Sandra White to Sandra Small.
I do have to go. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, Jerry.
And the family, the children are great.
Give thanks.
From Adela, which is not our one, right down to Heather. And her 6 children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Here comes the 50th anniversary of Haile Selassie. Here comes it.
All right. Give thanks.